Community. So we're doing that virtually these days. In the last 8 weeks, we've done 22 different Zoom webinars on all types of topics of interest to members and non-members. We've done almost all of them for free. So we've had a lot of guests joining us. We've had over 500 people on those virtual seminars. And today we're going to add a group more with Kelly Grant. So I just want to let you know that what we're starting today is kind of a series on the new normal and how people will open. So Kelly, you're kicking it off for us. And then we're talking about how salons will open on Friday at the same time at 11 in the morning. So look for that on our website if you have an interest. And then next week, we're doing a family-friendly after hours, actually on June 4th, with pizza and Negronis from Lena's Wood-Fired Kitchen. So we've got some fun things later on in the day and more serious discussions early in the day. But before I turn it over to Kelly, the person who's the chair of the Chamber Board is on, Dave Millard. So Dave is in the development and real estate business. So let's ask Dave to say hello and tell us how things are doing with renters and rentees, Dave.
Well, thanks, Joe. And thanks again to everyone for joining us today. As Joe and the entire Chamber staff, has participated in this, have put together timely, informative topics. And in this Zoom dominated world, it's given an opportunity for all of us to talk about first COVID response, and now, thankfully, as we get back to work in person, the various plans that are being rolled out. And, of course, co-working is top of mind for many of us. My own company is beginning to discuss today, we had a long meeting this morning by Zoom, of course, where we discussed how we will actually begin to go back to work in person. I think everybody is at work, but not necessarily all together. So it's exciting to begin to be, focusing on the other side of this and the, healthy and cautious, but economically, required return to work. So thanks again to Joe and all the Chamber staff for identifying topics, and for our panelists for participating and leading the discussion. Thanks.
Thanks, Dave. And the Chamber faces lots of issues in terms of membership and events and helping people with federal funding. And Dave has been there every step of the way to help the staff and to advise us and our executive committees meeting regularly to make sure we're heading in the right direction. Let's turn to Kelly. I think Founders Hall opened in early 2018. Just recently, they moved to their new waterfront location, which I've had the tour of. It's absolutely beautiful. I think she's got 25,000 square feet on 2 levels. And we want to hear from her today about shared desks, phones, programming, and what Kelly's plans are at ALX Community for reopening, and how she's going to take all this and just keep going and keep growing. So Kelly Grant, take it from here.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming, and the Chamber for inviting me to speak today. Just literally what Dave said, we're all learning, what this new normal is going to look like. And as ALX, we've never closed. So, and we couldn't really do that because we have so many essential businesses that work within our space. So we have about 250 unique companies that work with us. So the woman who handles worldwide pandemics is here. The team that is working on the vaccination for COVID is here. And so we've got a lot of people that really needed us to stay open. So we had to react very quickly so to be able to make sure that our cleaning standards were right, and that we keep evolving along the way. Now, I'll tell you, I will be open to all your feedback too, because we're all learning. We've taken a lot of steps though so far. So I hope some of what I would say would give people a little bit of help as you're preparing your own. And to anyone on the call, like, anything I have is yours. So feel very free to ask me any questions, or I'll send you all the materials that we've been using. So before I get into how we've approached it, Joe actually mentioned in the beginning, we started our co-working business 2 years ago and have 2 locations, and we're now working on our 3rd. So 2 of our locations are only a block apart. And what's unique about ALX is what we work on providing people a place to work, meet, learn, grow, and give back. So we're very community driven, and we do a series called Talks. So while we took all of our events and brought them online as well, we've now probably in these 2+ years have done about almost 300 events and had about 20,000 people attend those events. And putting them all online, we've learned quickly that, everybody doesn't want to Zoom every day, all day long, but how do you keep content relevant? So we've used Slack to open our channels, newsletters to be able to connect, one-on-ones, private channels. So we've brought a lot of those tools, and that's helped our community stay together. And I think at the core of everything I'm going to say, that's probably the most important as we're working from home and we're trying to get things done. I think making sure our culture and our community is still really together so that we don't miss a beat. I've been proud of my team and our members and our community as a whole. People have been so resilient and really understanding and willing to pitch in. So when we started, like right around February, we heard all the stuff that was happening, and we immediately did a complete deep clean of our building. So we worked with our building management to go through that process and did all the floors, all the surfaces with bleach solutions, anything that couldn't take a bleach. We used hospital grade sanitizer on them. All of our HVAC systems are brand new. So we went in and brought somebody in to clean, in the 2 months we've been open, the fans and the filters to make sure that we were getting optimal freshness. We brought in people to test that, so MAP people to make sure that we were doing the right things. As a co-working place, we also have phone booths, so the ventilation there was also very important. We wanted people, if they wanted to use those rooms, to feel comfortable. So our team at Room came in and retested every level of those to make sure that they were right. So we started with a very clean slate. And I think that was probably the most important. And then we started looking at what's the design going to look like? Because really the whole design of our space and all our co-working spaces to bring people together, not to bring them together 6 feet apart. So we really needed to think about what that looked like, starting with a robust product that we have called Flex Desks. So many people might think of them as a hot desk. It's a shared desk space that people come in and use. And we've reduced that space by 50%. All the spaces are 6 feet apart. All of them have, cleaning materials right on them so people can wipe them down. There's been poly dividers put up in those so that they could feel very comfortable in that space. And we've opened up a lot of private offices so that people could spread out and feel comfortable doing that. In our shared community spaces, we reduced a lot of the furniture. You can see my little one-way sign and my social distancing signs behind you. We've marked every area that you can think of on how far to be able to sit apart, and then removed furniture where we wouldn't need furniture anymore, and kept all the cleaning supplies just out and handy so that if you're sitting down, you easily have your step station right by your side. So once you're done, you can clean everything off and maintain that. We also require everyone to wear masks. And then we bought everyone masks. And then we also have disposable masks so that if anyone is in a public area, they're wearing those, as well as we have gloves. And those gloves are at every area that you might have a high touch experience with. So think of opening the refrigerator. think of getting ice. So we have gloves in all of those areas to be able to help. One of the best learnings that I also came up with through this process is a product called nanoseptic. So nanoseptic is a chemical based solution that you can put on all your handles, doorways, light switches, computer screens. And it actually self-cleans. So it's in huge demand. So we're still waiting for our order. It takes probably about 2 months to get them. They're supposed to be here this week. So we've installed all of that. We will be installing all of that on every single door, every handle, every computer screen that people might interact with, so that they can feel really comfortable. So even from the coffee to the ice machine. But in the meantime, we have gloves, and we also are using tissues. So our little Pop-A-Top tissues are at every single doorway, every single high-touch area, so people can pick them up and then just throw them out and feel more comfortable in that area, in those areas. Our private office members, if those members were in smaller spaces, we've now allowed them to expand to feel more comfortable in those areas, and have done that free of charge for them. Many of them are quarantined together, so they didn't need that, but many of them actually really, some of them did, and those that did appreciated it. The other product we use is called a dedicated desk. So think about our flex desks are probably solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, remote heroes, people that are really looking for a space to work, but maybe are a little bit more budget sensitive. The next step is our dedicated desks. Now it's a desk all of yours. It's 6 feet long. It can go up and down, and it's in a shared room with everyone. So even though we had the 6 feet distance on all of our desks between, we had to be careful behind or on the side. So we've moved all of those rooms and people so that we could maintain safer standards for them. So we're even beyond 6 feet in those spaces today. And then our meeting rooms. So we have 11 unique meeting rooms that can seat everyone from 3 people to 80. Well, apply social distancing to 80, and 80 becomes a very clean 22. And, all of our meeting rooms, you'll see the little picture up there. We've now redesigned those meeting rooms, moved all the chairs, showed pictures in every single one of the meeting rooms, posted those online so that people can see, hey, this is what the room could accommodate, and this is social distancing, so that they can feel more comfortable walking in and having that experience, having a meeting. I've been surprised because as people have been going through this, I think one of the biggest learnings from companies have been, do we really need all this space? So we actually can work from home, and we're pretty effective at it. So our business has actually seen a lift in sales where more people have wanted to join because their companies are going remote. They're losing their offices, but they still want to be part of a community. And we've been really sensitive on the placement of where everyone can be within that community, so that we're doing a really good job of making sure at first they feel welcome, but second, they feel really safe. On technology side at ALX Community, we invested pretty heavily. Myself and Scott Shaw, coming from a tech background, it was important to us that we had really tech-enabled space. So that includes members can actually log into the space. They can see exactly how many people are in the space, who's in the space. They can reserve a seat at one of the offices or flex desks, so that they can actually know and feel more comfortable. Like 6 feet might be the CDC's standard, but not everybody feels comfortable with 6 feet. Somebody might feel more comfortable with a bigger distance. So our technology allows them the bookable access, the viewable access to who's in the space. Not like you see the person. You'll just know their name and where they're actually seated. And then all of our doors are enabled with electronic key locks. So they actually, you don't need to do anything really. If you use our app on the phone, you can open doors. So that also has helped people feel a bit more comfortable. All our meeting rooms have iPads in front of them so that they could easily look to see who's in those rooms, what their timing might look like. And then my entire team has been cleaning nonstop. Like, so we probably clean our space. Well, it's at least every hour on the hour, but every single time somebody leaves a room, changes on something, we're out there cleaning to make sure that it is at the best possible condition. And I think those steps have helped us. So it's the materials, it's the design behind what that looks like. So really enhancing a low contact design, using all of the one-way signage and social distance signage so that people have a unique entrance in and a unique entrance to exit to leave, so they're not bumping each other in hallways. We've introduced a bunch of new PPE equipment and standards, and we've made all of that available. So in case somebody just forgot their mask or didn't have their gloves or their guest doesn't have them, we have that all available to them. And then our technology has complemented all of the things that we are working towards. I think we're in for a long haul now. So I don't think our new normal is going to go back for quite some time. And I think we're going to be looking carefully at how we design and how we interact and how we build community. So I'm super hopeful that my early steps and my team steps will help. But I know that many of you probably have introduced new things. I would love to hear what you've done, or I'm open to any questions that you might have that maybe I could help with.
Kelly, great, thank you. Great overview. For those of you who want to ask a question, you can unmute yourself and ask a question, or you can put it on the group chat, and we'll read it so that Kelly won't have to be reading all the questions.
Oh, thank you.
I have gotten a few questions directly. One of the questions is, what has been the most popular concern you've received from members, and what's been the most unique concern?
I think we're fortunate in the fact that our members are super loyal and kind, and they really friendly with each other. So they have been very supportive and been talking all throughout. So I haven't had a ton of surprises, but I'll share a funny one. But I think the most common request has been, will people wear masks? Like they feel uncomfortable walking into a space where the people aren't wearing masks. So if someone's in their private office, or they're in a private meeting room, or they're in a phone booth, we're not required. It's very difficult. Like if I tried to talk this much, my glasses would be all fogged up. So we're not requiring that they do that, but that has been people's number one concern, that we would do that. They've also been concerned about guests. How are we going to handle guests that come in? And so we actually have given our members a whole set of criteria to ask their guests, have they been healthy? Have they been tested recently? Have they had contact with anyone? So that they're helping us with that process. So that's been good. I think, oh gosh, all right. So I told Lovey this story, but maybe we'll break the ice with this. So one of the most surprising or unique things that have happened for someone like Lovey or myself that have been used to doing a ton of events, moving to Zoom wasn't real hard for me because I used to teach leadership development, and I did that via e-learning and web service a lot. So we've got one of our first brand new talks coming up in this virtual standpoint. We have advertised it. I think we've got about 55 people that are attending. It was all about how to be more healthy at home, how to exercise a little bit, so how to eat yourself out of your refrigerator and roll into work so it doesn't become the COVID-15. And it's going so well, and people are really passionate. And then all of a sudden, another 20 to 30 people joined because we had a public link, and we got Zoom bombed. And so what that means is we had pictures of body parts just zooming in to our call. So that's probably the most unique thing that happened. Luckily, we were able to fix that quickly. It was definitely unique, and we got a few surprises along the way.
I would definitely say that's one of the most unique experiences I've heard so far on Zoom. So I think you might be setting a record there, unless Zoom becomes even more popular. Another question we've received is about dog-friendly concerns. We know your facility is really proud to be dog-friendly, and that's something that a lot of your members look forward to being able to do. Has there been any change, or will there be any changes to that policy?
That's a great question. Well, the CDC has found that it's not transferable through dogs right now. So we've not changed our policy at all. And, members are being a little bit more sensitive to, not having their dog run all around, because it does make everyone feel comfortable, but it definitely softens the community. So, our chief canine officer is on the job today. She's greeting at the front desk right now. If I wasn't far away, I would show you her. Her name is Piper. She's also been a cover girl on Alexander Living magazine, so her head's getting a little big. But it's working out right now, so pretty well. And we don't have any hope to change it unless we learn new information. Old Town, probably a little known fact, 1 out of every 4 residents is a dog. So there is a ton of people that having dog-friendly solution just makes the difference of their day, as well as we have people that have service dogs and emotional support dogs.
Great. Are there any questions from anyone that wants to unmute themselves and ask? I'll open the floor up.
Kelly, this is Dave. Have you had to increase the insurance coverage that you have to cover any, anticipated or potential liabilities, or, that kind of thing?
That's a great question, Dave. We had such strong coverage being a new facility. We did meet with our insurance company, as well as we own a part of our building. So we met with the other owners of the building and reviewed all of our policies, and have found that we were in good shape at this point. So we were lucky, but that's definitely something I hadn't mentioned. And I would tell people that it would be worthwhile to make sure that that's a basic thing that you've got covered, and you're thinking about, the medical costs of what that might look like if somebody were to get ill in your space. So we've got Mandy and Gilda, and we've got Building Momentum on. If anyone has done anything else that I haven't mentioned and you think that it would be worthwhile for people to hear, gosh, please take the floor. I am honored to be asked today, and I hope that you guys have learned a little about how ALX is approaching it. But I would quickly say that if there's other things that we all can learn from, I'd love to share the best practices.
Hi, Kelly. It's Cecily from Building Momentum. I actually did have one more question before we move on to other things we've learned. What practices do you have in place for if somebody gets sick in your space? what is the callback on that? How do you make sure they keep you aware so you can keep other members aware?
Yeah. So we set a procedure up for all of our members and have reviewed that with all of them. And we do that the same way with our visiting guests. So it's as simple as letting us know, A, that you're feeling any symptoms. B, you've come in contact with somebody that's tested positive, or you're concerned that that might be something that you have. We have the ability to text all the members, email all the members, and we have been using that system to be able to make sure that they feel well communicated to. We haven't had that, knock on a lot of wood, that while we've still seen some growth in our numbers as a city, we have not had it here. Have you seen anything or doing anything different?
We're actually not completely open to members right now because we are so in the thick of it with all of the COVID response techniques we're working on. Most of our staff has been in the building hitting that 10-person quota. So we've told our members to stay home as of now. And usually they can all stay home for the most part. If they do have to come in, we ask that they only come in on a weekend. We only have one staff member present. So that's what we're doing with our members right now. But we're looking to reopen once phase 1 or phase 2 goes into effect into smaller groups. We're just gonna research and see how it goes.
Yeah, so if anything that we've talked about today from a product standpoint, please feel free, because some of those things that I talked about, like the shields on door handles, it takes a long time to get them. So I'm happy to share anything I have or know, or and do the same, please, because we also, those shields that we were putting up, those privacy shields, those are 4.5 to 10 week lead time. So that was tough for us to be able to go through, but we found some solutions there too. So I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, what we're doing around our space, I'm very excited to look into that nanoseptic stuff you were talking about. Yeah. But what we're doing in the meantime are just finding alternate methods of opening and closing doors. There's been a lot of talk of 3D printing, door openers or door closers, figuring out how we can automate doors in a sense. We've got a lot of UVC sanitation light bulbs in our bathrooms right now that are motion activated, which is really nice to just even to see that there's something in there disinfecting, which brings a lot of, what do we keep calling it? Consumer relief, I guess.
Right, sure.
So I know that works with me very well when I like to see that UVC light bulb. I'm like, I know we're getting sanitized. And then we just have our UVC, what are they called? Conveyor belts. A lot of the UVC technology that we're working on is making it a comfortable place to be.
Well, before it's going to take some time to use all the mechanics. This is like the cheapest little solution. It's on Amazon. It's called Papa Tissue. And it literally just fastens. And so you can pull the tissue, not touch it at all until you have a final solution. I actually got it from a woman who works for the CDC. Said, you have to crawl, walk, and run. She said, so I know it's going to take you some time until you're running, even though you don't like to wait. This might be something that you might want to use. So hopefully that might be something that because it can be put up immediately.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
2 days ship time. The same thing with that signage up on the wall, that's Amazon. And the little pretty mask is Yates making our masks locally. So there was some really, it's been wonderful how many of the dry cleaners in our area have just picked up the slack and done an amazing job of providing, personal protective equipment.
Awesome. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure.
Ellery, I'd like to jump in and ask a business question here for a minute.
Sure.
We've been talking to restaurants and hotels about this also. As you're spacing and you've got more expenses, how are you looking at your revenue model, and is it going to cut back on profit? I guess is the basic question.
Well, there's not a question that it will. So we've been fortunate in our base membership that we have not, we saw a small dip, and now we're actually seeing an increase. But all of our meeting space and events, it's almost, there's none. So so that definitely has changed our model, and will impact our revenue plan for the future. As the new phases release, and as I said to the whole group, I don't think we're going to go back right away. Meaning we're not going to go back to packed meetings. We might find that we're more comfortable having a bit more space. And of course, that's going to impact what our projections were. But we're going to feel better providing the best space that we can, and the best experience we can. So, Joe, I've spent probably more time than I care to admit looking at spreadsheets to make sure that I can understand how do I not skip a beat managing my member experience, and that member experience includes my team. They're absolutely one of the most critical elements of everything we do. So I want to make sure that they feel safe and comfortable as well.
I can tell you and everybody else who's on this, we've been talking to the hotels because we do a lot of meetings in hotels.
Yeah.
They are struggling with it right now, and they have different practices that they're testing out, but no one's got the best answer for what a meeting will look like 6 months from now.
I don't think anybody knows. I'm talking to a bunch of them as well because we work together in them. So some people are feeling a bit more comfortable, not unfortunately walking into a hotel because of as many guests and travelers. So they've been referring some of their larger events, but we're not a venue for weddings. That's just not who we are. So we're working through and trying to find the best place for everyone to work and working with our whole community to be able to do that. Thank you for asking that, though. You're right. If I paint a picture where it's all rosy, like all revenue's neutral, then, we'd be crazy. That's not true.
Lava, you see any more questions on the chat?
I don't see any. I'm going to just give one last second in case anyone wants to ask any and unmute themselves.
Kelly, it's Gelda. How are you?
Oh, I'm so good. How are you?
I am great.
Miss you.
I know, miss you too. You did an awesome job. Thank you so much. We are doing a lot of the same things that you've talked about. For the most. You guys are a little more tech savvy, on your end. So those things would be a little difficult for us at this time. With our centers, what we've done is we've had modified schedules. So we have one team member in place each day, just so that we could practice social distancing at this time. That can now change since the governor has suggested the first step in the reopening process. So that could change probably in the next week or so.
Mm-hmm.
Found that a lot of our members, though, have decided to work from home. We have a handful, like we call them the usual suspects, that come in every single day. And we have sent out something that have required them to wear masks and so on when they're in the public spaces. And again, they can do what they want when they're in their offices. But we have most of them adhering to it. Every now and again, we see someone sneaking around without a mask. So, this is a process that we're all going through. And just as you said, we don't know what's happening. Our normal is now a thing of the past.
Right.
And we don't know what the new normal is going to be like. Every day it basically changes. So we have to, just keep our eyes open, ears open, and sort of figure it out as we go. So just like you, we've never really closed. We just had modified schedules. But I am going to reach out to you because some of these products that you referred to, I want to know a little bit more about it.
Oh, of course.
Especially the nanoseptic, and then Cicely, you just mentioned something.
Oh, the little tissue box and the privacy screens. Sure.
And then there was something you were saying you could put on door handles.
That's the nanoseptic.
That's the nanoseptic. Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's really cool stuff. I definitely, I'm excited to receive it. And it was, I was referred to the company by the global co-working network. So I felt really good about that. And then I had one of our members of the chemist. So then, of course, then I had them go on and talk, because I don't know what I don't know to ask about. And then now we're just waiting for it to arrive. So that's been a cool product, and I'm happy to be the tester of the products. But even though I have those things, I'm not going to let that that be the only thing that we'll have. I'm still keeping the tissues at the doors and the no touch items. So like, soap dispensers and, hand towels are, all moving to that or all have moved to that no touch area. I forgot to mention, the other thing we do is meeting rooms. Like, so no longer do you enter a meeting room and you're not going to find your markers. You won't find anything really there, because we have little baskets all set up for them, and we're sanitizing every single item. And it's, it's not real high tech. So, whoop, sanitized.
I love
So we put them in fresh baggies and sanitize every piece of it with our gloves on. And it's just a little tiny tray so they can come and they check it out and they bring it back to us, so that we make sure that, they're not touching things over and over again.
I like that idea. We removed everything from our meeting rooms as well, but we didn't think to put them in little Ziploc bags and so on. So I like
this. So they have these. We have a little sanitation guy. We put paper towels in them, and they're all marked with what they are. I have ordered little stickers so that I write that it says it's been sanitized, so that it's not just me telling them, but they haven't arrived yet either. But every single time I walk the floor, multiple floors, I find a new thing. Like, oh, I didn't think of that. Like how you're going to touch our garbage. Like, so then I have to put new things out. So I think the best thing that I've done is work in my own space, like, and experience what it's like. What's it like when you have to go to the restroom? What's that like? And when you're having a meeting, what does that look like and feel like? So I've been working in all different offices and places, so that your eyes are on the things that you might not have thought of.
Right. Makes sense. So, I'm going to be reaching out to you as usual.
Please text me. Yeah, I changed a little email service. So text is always easier. And anyone on the call, like I'm probably the most transparent girl that ever lived. My cell is 919-632-0931. And it's also on my LinkedIn. I respond really quick to text. Email will take a little bit longer because, I'm with people most of the day. But if you text, I will respond right away.
No worries. Thanks, Kelly. You did a wonderful job.
Yeah, you're too kind. Thank you. I'll look forward to talking to you soon.
Talk to you soon, Hen.
Lovey, Dave, and Joe, thank you very much for inviting me today. I hope that I've been helpful. It's been helpful for me just to see other people and hear what they're doing. And I'm looking forward to talking to Cecily from Building Momentum and catching up with everyone. I think the best news of anything that we go through is we're going to get through this together, and we're going to learn together what we need to do to be able to protect our people. So there's never a thought in my mind about competition. People choose where it's best for them, and we are, all of us together will do much better than we will ever individually.
That's right. But thank you, Kelly. I just want people to know Gelda is with Coworkplaces. That's why, and she's got a number of sites that she manages here in Alexandria. So another pro in the business. Also want to just remind you all, if you are interested about salons and hair cutting and nails, Maria Elizabeth will be with us on Friday at 11 from Salon de Zen. And she's done some major work in terms of re-looking at her workspace and how she's going to serve her customers. So Kelly Grant, thank you so much for sharing, and thank you for being a leader in Alexandria.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone.
Kelly.
Be safe.
Thanks all.
Bye.
Bye.